Hey there, and welcome back to Badass Branding. We are still in Module 3, Brand Identity, and this is lesson number 6, and this is all about creating your brand guidelines document. So let's start with a truth bomb. So lack of consistency in your brand can actually hurt your brand and your business, because if you are not consistent in your visual branding, if you're not consistent in your messaging, if you're not consistent in how you show up in your business, that can lose a lot of trust with your audience, and you can actually lose potential business because of that, and your reputation can be tarnished as a result. So let's dig into this lesson. In this lesson, what we're going to learn is what brand guidelines are and why they are important. We're going to look at some examples of brand guidelines for your inspiration, and I'm going to walk you through how to create your very own simple guide for your own brand using all of the elements that we have created thus far in this course. So let's start here. What are brand guidelines? Well, brand guidelines is basically a document that outlines what all of your branding elements are and how to use them in whatever context. It's also known as a style guide or a brand guide. So what are the elements that are in a brand guide? Well, any element that's part of your brand identity should be part of your brand guide. So you're going to have your logo, colors, fonts, any patterns or textures, design elements, photography. Those are all the visual things. And then in some cases, some of the more comprehensive brand guidelines will include things like your core values, your brand voice, your audience personas, your brand mission, messaging and position, and whatever your origin story is. So you can make this document as simple or as complex as you need it to be. But in this lesson here, we're really going to be focusing on those foundational things, the things that we've been learning in this course, and that's going to be your logos, colors, your fonts, and also your brand photography. So why are brand guidelines so important? Well, all of your branding elements are in one place and will ensure consistency everywhere. I preach consistency every single day, and it's so important, and it's that sort of subconscious thing that people just come to expect, again, subconsciously, when they are interacting with your business. So consistency is key, and your brand guideline is the one thing that's going to help you maintain that consistency no matter who is working on your brand. So your brand visuals are going to be consistent, like I said, no matter who is working on them. So if you have, say, a web developer that might be working in Europe on your website, and then you have a US-based VA working on some of your social media, they're going to be working from those same set of rules, and they don't even know each other, they don't work with each other, they don't communicate with each other, but whatever they create is going to be in line with your brand guidelines, thus creating that consistency. So let's look at a few examples of brand guidelines. So these are a couple of simple one-page brand guides. The one on the left is for my own brand. The one on the right is really more of a logo style guide, but it has your colors and different logo options. And you can get really complex with these as well. So when I worked on Bobby's brand identity and revamping that, you can see it's much more comprehensive. You're going to have your different logos, the different usages of those logos, all of your colors and the ratio in which the colors should be used, the fonts, all of the design elements, you know, the textures and the rough-edged paint swashes, and then some inspiration on how copy should be used in different contexts, more inspiration for ads, social media images, PDFs, and a whole bunch of different social medias, and even a web page example. So these can be very complex as well. And looking at my own current brand guide, I wouldn't say it's complex. It's probably intermediately complex, but you know, it's got my different logos, including sort of sub logos. It's got all my brand colors and color ratios, and my fonts, again, different typography usages. I got my patterns in there. I've got some design elements and textures. And so that's, I guess you can say that's a somewhat complex guide, but it doesn't include a lot of the strategy stuff. It doesn't include my messaging, my tone of voice, my brand personality, and all that kind of stuff, which you can include, because even though the brand messaging is sort of its own thing, it's still kind of part of your brand identity, like brand personality and things like that. Here's another example of a client I worked with. She's a writer for exclusively for financial advisors. So we developed a logo, and this is more than just a simple text logo, but we've developed a logo based on her personality. She has curly hair, and that's kind of her trademark, so we use that sort of scribbling in the background, and the logo has got like a flame coming out with almost like a pencil, but the V stands for voice. And again, you have the different logo versions, fonts, some basic copy styles, all of the colors, and some design elements. Nothing too crazy. And then let's look at a larger brand like Target's brand guidelines. And this is really it. This is their brand guide. It's very simple. And that's why I think their brand is so effective, because it is very simple. There's definitely been a lot of money and time and energy put into getting their brand to be this simple, to where they can just show their logo without the word Target with it. But you see all of this. It's got your colors, you got your logo, you got how the logo can be used, shows the logo in context. It shows you how not to use a logo, which is often a popular thing to put into a brand guide. Different logo lockups, and just maybe the brand promise that's in there. So that's some of sort of that strategy work that's in there as well. And then just some other examples. These are more sort of visual tone guides, not necessarily business brands, but like, this is a vibrant sort of brand example, or whimsical or feminine. Color palettes with associated photos for inspiration. I call them mini brand guides because you can incorporate those into your brand if you like those. And you can also get those, if you're on my list, you can get those at patricksesko.com/brand guide. So you can get as simple or as complex as you want to or need to. If you're just starting out, you're an online entrepreneur and you're just starting out, I suggest you keep it simple. That's sort of been the concept here for this whole course, is really to teach you a lot of the stuff behind why we do a lot of the stuff, but it's also to make sure that what you create is simple and effective, because you can grow and you can expand upon that as your business grows. So now I'm going to walk you through creating your own brand guide. So we're going to create a simple brand guide using Canva, a free graphic design tool that you can get online. It's canva.com. And what you're going to create is, I have a template here on the left, and once you apply everything that we've done so far in the course, you're going to come out with something that looks similar to what you see on the right. And if you stay to the end, I'll give you the URL that you can grab this free template as a little gift from me. So let's get started. So the first thing you want to do is, once you click on that link that you get at the end of this lesson, you're going to import, you're going to open that document up into your Canva account, save it as, your name / mini brand guide, or save it as whatever naming convention it works for you. And then I want you to take the logos that you created in the logo section of this course and upload them into your Canva. Those are going to be the transparent PNG files that we did, and then you're going to place them into this document just like this. So you're going to get rid of those boxes and the color logo here, text, and then replace those with the logos that you created. And on the one white logo, just resize the box to where it fits in proportion to the shape of your logo. So mine is more horizontal, so I just resized that to a rectangle that fit around it, ensuring there was some space around it. So the second thing you're going to do is you're going to add examples of your fonts for each font that you use. So if you used a 1 font or 2 font or 3 font model, those are the fonts that you're going to bring in. And if you remember, not all Google fonts are in Canva. In the paid version of Canva, you can upload fonts to use custom fonts. So you would go to Google, download your fonts, and upload them into Canva, and then you can start to use them in all of your designs in Canva, including this template. So go ahead and change the fonts in these templates to the fonts that are going to be part of your brand, whether it's 1, 2, or 3 font model, and be sure to name them appropriately above each font. And in the next step, you're going to add your colors. So if you go back to your color exercises that we did, where you determined what your hexadecimal codes are for each of the individual colors, So you're going to use those hex codes that you got from that color exercise and put them in. And again, be sure to label each color with the correct code below. So that way, whoever's using this brand guide can say, okay, this is color 28AAE1. I'm going to pop that into whatever software I'm using. And that's going to ensure that you use the exact same color that everybody else who is working on your brand is using. And that's what gives you the consistency. And then lastly, just go ahead and customize the title. Just be sure to use your new brand colors to change the color of the box and the color of the line that goes around the whole document. It's nothing fancy. It's a very simple one-pager that you can just give to whoever's working on your brand. So customize that name and the date. And if you ever update your brand colors or your fonts, or you ever update your logo, you would just replace with the most recent versions of that and then change the date, so that way you know that whatever PDF you're looking at should have the most recent date on it. And then lastly, you want to export this as a PDF. So once it's done, you just go into the export and choose PDF print as the selection there, and then download this as a PDF. And this is the file that you're going to send to anyone who is working on your brand. So if you hire a VA, you're going to send them this. If you hire a web developer, you're going to send them this. So that way they can at least use your logos, your colors, and your fonts, all going to be consistent. So when you do send whoever's working on your stuff this document, be sure to place all of your assets in a shared drive, like a Google Drive or a Dropbox, to share with them. And I'm talking about the actual logo files, those PNGs that you downloaded, because what you see in the PDF there, those aren't the actual logo files. The logo files are going to live somewhere, and you're going to have to give them access to those files. So you're going to have to give them access to any logos. If you have any graphics or photography that you need to use, those are also going to have to be given in addition to the PDF of the brand guide. And as you can see here, this is an example of mine. I have a lot of stuff in mind. I have design elements, fonts, logos, patterns, slides, textures, etc. But no matter how complex or how basic your brand identity is, if you just get your brand guidelines and your logos and whatever elements you have, put them in a drive like this, and send them a copy of, or a link to download so they can use themselves. And I promised you I would give you a copy of this free template, so you can go ahead and grab this free Canva template at patricksesko.com/free brand guide, and you'll get excuse me, you'll get the email with a link to the Canva template, and then there's also a training video that will show you exactly how to do it step by step and click by click. So go ahead and grab that again, patricksesko.com/free brand guide. So now I want you to take action. So go ahead and grab that free template, or if you want to just create your own and build your own mini brand guide, that's fine too. I just want you to have fun. So go ahead and get that done. Now, this is something that you can actually get done very quickly. Probably from start to finish, you could theoretically get this done in 30 minutes. So this is not something you need to spend a ton of time on. And this is sort of all this work that you've been doing over the past several modules here sort of culminated in this. And this should be real quick. So that's it for this lesson. In this lesson, you've learned basically what and the why of brand guidelines. You've looked at some different examples of brand guidelines, anything from small online entrepreneurs like ourselves to big juggernauts like Target. And then I walked you through how to quickly create your own mini brand guide, so that will ensure that all of your stuff is consistent no matter where or no matter who is working on your brand. So now that you have done the strategy work, and then you have built a simple yet effective visual brand, you can now put yourself out there with more confidence. And when you put yourself out there with more confidence and with more consistency, over time your audience will notice that, even if it's subconsciously, then they will be more attracted to you because they will be more likely to trust you and buy from you. So again, these are just the fundamentals of everything here, and this pretty much wraps up the Badass Branding course. I think there is a resources lesson after this, but this is the core work for the Badass Branding, and that, I believe, is the end of this course. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. I hope you really enjoyed this, and I hope that it has served you well and was value to you. So we'll see you on the internets. My name is Patrick Sesko. I'm your brand buddy, and we'll talk to you soon.